All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is Safety Save with AlyssaKera. As this is episode number two, right?
Episode 2.
Yes, yes, this is exciting. So, how are you doing this evening? Well, it's evening for us, of course. I always try to be careful because some people may be watching this in the other parts of the world where it might be morning, afternoon, wherever. But yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Can't complain too much. I will say the it's the end of August, and where I live, the bugs are just really rampant right now, especially the crickets. The
Yeah.
crickets are really annoying. So I don't know if I said this before. If I did, forgive me, but the crickets here can get louder than alarm clocks. So
Oh my god.
it's
Oh,
like
man.
they get into the house, I'll hear a cricket will get inside the wall, and like I can't get to them, and I'll hear the chirp 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 chirp. I'm like in the middle of the night, and I'm like trying to sleep, and I was like, oh,
Enough to make you crazy.
oh, very much so, yes. Fortunately, when I first moved into my house, I lived in the basement. I have a basement bedroom. I lived there for like the first couple of years. That was the worst. Now I live on the upper level, so I don't have that much of a problem with crickets. But every once in a while, I still hear one. So um, it just drives me crazy. So the how are things with you as far as like where you're going? Anything new, exciting?
Uh, Nothing too exciting or new going on, just keep going through life, going through the motions right now.
Your audio sounds really good. That's really good. It's a nice microphone. I meant to say that
Thanks.
before we went live. Is that a SM7? Is that a
It
microphone?
is, it sure is the SM7B. This is what I do a lot of my voice acting on. I couldn't get it to work with my camera before, which is why I used the headset last time, but yeah, this is my baby. It was a perfect purchase, I might say.
Yeah, that's an industry standard pretty much for radio when you were an
Yeah.
SM. I don't use one myself, but one of the people that was working for me several years ago, he set up his own studio, and he said, "What kind of mic?" And I recommended an SM7, and he got that, and he
Mhm.
loved it. So,
Yeah,
so
I did a lot of research. I learned a lot about dynamic microphones and how sound is recorded through microphones. So, I was like, "Oh, I'll just buy a microphone." And then I was like, "Oh, this is a lot of work."
yeah, you don't want to buy some pencil microphone and actually
Yeah.
sound like crap. I actually had this kind of funny you say that because I hired somebody. I reluctantly hired him. I was really desperate for somebody. This guy was kind of pompous and arrogant when I interviewed him, and I was like, but I was like, I was like, I don't want to hire him, but I needed someone to fill a spot because it was a 24/7 operation at that point. So I brought him on board. He told me he had a professional studio and he was going live on the air on a radio station out in California. And he actually had the nerve to use one of those little tiny cheap pencil microphones that you get with a computer. And the program director called me up and he was livid. He was angry. He said, I want this guy
Oh,
off the
man.
air right now. I don't want this guy on my station ever again.
Oh, man.
And it was yeah, it was yeah, this guy was I'm not gonna say who his name, of course, but he was just full of lies. He was just telling me how he was this a great person, he was well known in the industry and all this blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, whatever. You can't even get a decent microphone in there. Uh-huh, uh-huh. So but, needless to say, I never brought him on board again. In fact, I had to the funny part is when I had to pull him off the air, I called him up, I said, The program director does not want you on the air." He started to get angry with me. I'm
Oh,
like
no.
what are you getting angry with me for? I didn't argue with him. I was like, "What are you" I wanted to say, "What are you getting angry with me for? You're the one with the crappy microphone." So as far as your voice work goes, I mean, did we talk about much of that? We How much did we talk about that before?
I think we may have only mentioned it, or I don't even know if we did. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do voice work.
That's pretty cool. Now, what do you do? Is it like character voices? What is that exactly?
Yeah, so right now, nothing big time. I've had maybe 1 or 2 actual paid roles, so I'm just making my way through it. It's a lot of fun. I'm using a couple of just, like, free sites where people put up either, like, their fan projects or something that they're wanting to, like, dub over, or, somebody was working on, like, a phone game, and I'm doing some voice acting for that. So, it's really fun because you get to act, but you don't have all the pressure of, like, actually being on the screen. So
Mhm.
that's sure I'm comfortable.
That's great. I mean, I had a friend, well, I think a kind of a more like a work friend, like a well, not we didn't really hang out or anything, but a friend that was I worked with, and he was doing that. He was doing I worked at Shadow Traffic, which is a big traffic reporting service back in the 90s, and he was trying to get into, something else, and he was doing a lot of voice acting. In fact, he's now on a lot of video games. I was, like, looking at a video game, and I forget which one it was a couple years ago, and I was looking at the list of people that did it, and I was like, "Oh, I know that guy. I used to
Oh,
work with
man.
him."
That is the dream. I wish.
And he has a video on YouTube. He's like you. He has this nice personality, really friendly. You know,
Aw.
and he I saw a video of him on YouTube, and he's making big money now because he's got
Oh,
a
man.
large house and everything. I'm like, geez, I'm really jealous. So I hope I hope it does work out for you. Maybe you'll be like big time like him someday. So
Ah, that would be so cool.
well, do you want to look at last week's question we asked
Yeah.
everybody?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
take a look.
Let's bring this up here. Now, when I was before we went live, I thought we had more responses than we did. We have a moderate amount of responses. 2,000 votes. When do
Wow.
you find yourself quickly safety saving? Overwhelmingly 70% with before a big boss,
Mhm.
which makes sense. Makes sense. The next one down would be 15% with all the above. 6% would be next with after doing something you don't want to lose the data on. I think that's the one I said. I think if I remember correctly. I can't remember what I said exactly, but 5% with before you do something you know is going to get you killed, and 4% with after getting a cool item. Hmm. So interesting. What was that was the percentage before, right? I know the votes are
I
much higher, but
Yeah,
as
I think about the same.
okay. So let me organize these by dates so we can get the newest ones in here. One we got from what is that BB? BB I can't see the letter. BBN, I guess. Dude, oh, okay, we'll ignore that one. Sorry. Let's see. Let's see. This one says I can't read the name. Sorry. The text doesn't seem to come through. What does it say? Smoke something? I can't see read what it says. It says after I tuned a car. Okay, in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, you can tune your car, so yeah, I can see that. After completing Zero's stupid mission. Okay, do you know what Zero's mission is? By what have you ever heard that?
No.
Uh, it's there's a character in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. His name is Zero. He's like a nerdy guy. He owns his own shop where he sells models and things like that, and there's three missions that have to be but they are optional. A lot of people think they have to be completed, but they're optional, and that you have to pilot or drive a little remote control vehicle of some kind. So it's either a car, a fixed wing aircraft, or a helicopter, and you have to complete these little missions, and people hate them. They despise actually, I'm sorry, there is no car mission. I'm thinking one of the other. In the first one, you have to use a minigun and you have to shoot down these little airplanes. That one is pretty easy if you have a PC. For the PlayStation, though, it's actually pretty hard. I tried the PlayStation version. A lot of people said it was really hard, and I was like, no, this is easy. And it turns out if you're using a PC like I do most of the time, the mouse makes it real easy to aim, so it's not that hard at
Right.
all. But I did try it on the PlayStation too. I was like, yeah, it is it took me 2 tries. Normally I can get it in 1 try. I mean, a lot of people take more than 2 tries. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but it did take me a couple of tries to get it to pass. So I finally figured out what they meant by how hard it was. So, but yeah, that's what he's referring to, the remote control missions. Um, let's see, what were next one down, Volta 88, 98 again. We get him a lot. What does quickly safety saving mean? Did you wanna give an answer
Oh,
first?
yeah. So a safety save is a save that you do just in case because you know something is going to really go down, either something that's going to require a lot of skill or something that's going to be like pre-calculated, like a kind of like a gotcha item or something in a game. You're going to do something really risky, like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it across this river without drowning, or I'm going to fight this really big boss and I don't know if I'm prepared for it. So your safety save is your save just in case.
And, safety saves, I will say on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I mentioned this before, I used to do a lot of those only because my computer could not handle the game at the time. So that was I think that's the reason I gave about losing data. So
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
very frustrating, very frustrating.
Yeah.
And the other frustrating thing about the San Andreas was, some of the missions I also talked about this could be very long, and there was the risk of crash of the game crashing during the middle of the mission, which I couldn't do a safety save regardless because I'd have to complete the mission in order to save it anyway. So, which is kind of annoying. So, but I also think I gave the example of Duke Nukem 3D, didn't I? Did I not? I'm not sure.
Yep, you talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Duke Nukem was you could save anywhere, anytime, any place, which was awesome. So that was and that was I think that's what I would do whenever I came across a scene that was like with a big like the boss at the end of each level, or it could have been just a scene, a part where I just wanted to go, like I'd played it through a couple of times. I wanted to go back to a specific spot that I really, really liked in the game because they did a really cool job of the designing of it, and I wanted to see it again. Something like that. I didn't have a problem with crashing on that game though. That game was not didn't crash very much. It was a DOS game, so it didn't really have that issue. So let's see. Was it Morgan? I think Morgan Mullins. Is that right? Says for me, it's believe I do something I know is going to kill me. LOL. I don't want to lose. I think it means lose everything. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Be like a big boss. Let's see. India, is that India? Forgive me for not mispronouncing anything here. So I played. Was that Arc? What is that? Arc?
Arcanum?
Arc? Okay, once. And quick save is definitely a routine activity. Like failed to steal a necklace from a customer, ended up horribly, and earned the life title Butcher of something. Uh,
Oh, no.
without quick saving. I never played the game, so I don't know what that is. I guess that's something you get when you're playing the game. So, uh, and I have to start the game all over because the title gives me a bad rep. Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's
staying.
the worst.
Let's see. Then the response is, yeah, that's something I haven't heard about in ages. And before Big Boss, and then of course Sandip Mohanar, who comments on everything. Thanks for that, of course. All of the above. So, oh, okay. Well, the that's interesting. Yeah, I was trying to think if there's any other times you would actually do that. I think we covered most of the important ones. So, I can't think of anything else that would do it, and unless you were trying to. I don't think you can do this though. On Red Dead Redemption 2, have you ever played that game? I'm not sure if you have or not.
I haven't played it myself, but I've seen it played.
There's a you can actually the map is huge. It's humongous. I mean, this thing not only is the map huge, you can actually go off of the map and just keeps on going. It's like why did the developers create all this land? It just keeps on going and going and going. It's unreal. Um, I would think that I've seen videos where people it's hard to get into it's like there's an area of the map that's really hard to get to. You have to like trick the game into putting you into that part of the game, which is kind of weird. But it's like once you get in there, I don't think a safety save would help, unfortunately. What would happen is you could travel like maybe a half an hour, you'd still into this broad wilderness. And what would happen is if you did a safety save, like you wanted, so you didn't have to go through that half hour all over again, it would put you back on the main map.
Oh,
So,
man.
which would really stink. So that half hour you
Yeah.
just would just be completely wasted. And you have to do it all over again. So they it's interesting how they put this huge map and have this outer map that's there, and but they kind of don't want you to go there, but you can go there, and it's like they have these little things that try to get you to zip back there automatically like that. So I don't know. I've seen other comments where people say the same thing. Why did the developers make such a huge map? It's just unbelievable. And how did they get the time to? Well, the game did take like I think like 10 or 11 years to create. So I guess they had a lot of time to create all that stuff. And the other question is why did they do that? Some of the responses, just guesses, of course, were like maybe it was for expanded content or maybe online content. But so far they've never used it, so it's just sitting there. It's just really bizarre. So um, any games that you've experienced like that where like it seems to just like there's a weird map where you can go off the map in some way?
Um, yeah, I feel like definitely there's a lot of areas in a lot of different games where it's just like, why is this even here? This just long expanse of like, am I going to be back here later? Why did they put this here? And then, of course, because it's like out of bounds and it's not where you're supposed to go, like you want to go there and you want to see what they have going on over there. And it's always like just you run forever and you're like, there's nothing even here. So I've had a couple experiences with that.
That reminds me what we just said. There was a video game, an arcade game, an actual arcade. You have to go to the arcade to play it. Have you ever heard of hard driving? Or let me see if I can bring this up real quick. Let me see. Hard drive. There's no G on it. It's just hard drive in. I'll bring it up here so we can take a look at it. Okay, here we go. This is a game I got hooked on many years ago. Tell me if you've ever seen this one. This is classic game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've played this before.
You have? Okay. I played this game so many times at the arcade. When you get to the end of the track, there's actually a spot where you can turn off, and there's like a little area you can go to, and it has no service, no purpose in the game at all. And there's this road that goes off, and there's like a little circle at the end. It's almost like an area where you could, like a little trophy area of some kind. But
Interesting.
they don't. It's never used for anything. So I mean, I played the game so much, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go drive around and see where this goes. But then I found I was like, what is this? So it just reminded me of what you were saying there. So did you play the arcade version of this, or did you play like
I
the?
played the arcade version.
Okay, I remember at the time this game had this very really realistic feel to driving. Even though the graphics are really archaic looking, but the driving felt really good for the time it came out. It was really interesting. I also found out that and I believe it was made by the same company. I believe this was made by Atari. I could be wrong on that. So if anyone wants to tell me, let me know. They made a driving simulator for police officers that used a similar game engine. It was strictly
Oh.
for police officers to drive. And I saw it on a TV show one time. And I said, "Hey, that's hard driving," and but it wasn't. It was actually something else. But it was like it was so obvious that it was. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just making an assumption, of course. Maybe it wasn't hard driving. Maybe it was just a program that looked identical to it in every way. I guess I don't know, but it looked to me like whoever created it created hard driving at the same time. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm seriously doubt they use it anymore. But there was also another one. I don't know if you saw it, a sequel to this. It was called Race Driving. Did you ever see that one?
I don't think I've seen this one.
Yeah, here's Race Driving. This one had a stunt track that was even more bizarre. Oh no, that's not it, is it? Oh no, I don't know. Well, the track was ridiculously unusual looking. If you've ever seen it, here's the arcade unit right here. Here's this is whose video is this? Rhinos, right? Sorry, I can't pronounce your name, but anyone can see his video right there. So give him proper credit. You can go check it out there. I see we can look at the cabinet. There you go. Look at the cabinet real quick. There you go. That was Race Driving. It was a sequel to that. You could actually play the original Hard Driving, and you could play the newer version Race Driving at the same time. And the track was just
Awesome.
ridiculously unreal. It's like this. There's this one like there's this one ramp that just went like you're going up into the sky, like straight up, and then you come straight back down again. You had to ride the
Oh,
brake
man.
all the way down. You couldn't drive it fast at all. It was there was a spiral loop. You see the spiral loop
Yeah.
there was a spiral loop like that. It was real narrow, and if you fell off, you had to start it again.
Oh, man.
So if you ever tried, if you liked hard driving, if you ever get a chance, race driving is definitely something you'd like to. It would be a good idea to try out sometime. So
I always gravitate towards the racing games when I'm out at an arcade, just because I like the prop of it. I really like steering the wheel. I'm so bad at those games, but it's so much fun. Just like the same thing, I like to always go for the gun games because I like to hold the gun and
oh,
feel like a badass.
here's one you might have seen. Have you ever heard of Operation Wolf?
No.
Let's see if I can bring this up. This was a game. I'm like, this might sound contradictory to what I am. I'm usually extremely anti-war, but I love this game. So it was like, so it sounds like I'm not, but this is Operation Wolf, World of something there. This is just to give it proper credit. Long plays, World of Long Plays. Um, basically, you go around as a military person killing everybody in sight.
Oh my gosh.
Let me bring the sound down. So that's loud here. Well, you can't see that. You don't want to shoot that little kid. And in the game, you actually had like you had like you said like an actual gun. It looked like an Uzi, like mounted on the arcade game. You'd shoot them, boom, 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 with the. And I got hooked. This is another one I got hooked on back in the day. So, at the very end, the game was designed a couple of different ways. There were 6 levels. If you got to the end, it would either come to a complete end or just start all over again, depending on how they set up the arcade unit itself. And oh yeah, here's the funny part. Yeah, if you would always there was a guy. I guess he was supposed to be the president. He said, "Congratulations, you won the game." if you like
Cute.
if you like the gun games, you may or may not maybe like this one. I'm not sure, but uh, because it definitely had a gun on there. It was like boom, 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 boom. So those are old games I haven't played in a long time. I cannot
Mhm.
even imagine how they do something like that on a home version because the gun was what made the game fun.
Right,
If
yeah.
I mean, if you were to use a mouse or a controller, I just can't see how it would work. It just wouldn't.
Mhm.
Even if you had like I mean, you'd have to have like an actual gun where you hold in your arms or something, a light gun of some kind. If that was
Yeah,
even.
that was most of the fun. That's why I gravitated towards those in the first place, is I just wanted to hold the prop.
Oh. So, do you have a question for our audience for next week or for today? I should say. Sorry.
Yeah, so today we're gonna talk about Howard the Duck. And so if anyone has watched Howard the Duck or wants to watch it and then comment, or vote on the poll, I think we should pick a favorite character.
Okay.
So
Okay.
who is your favorite character in Howard the Duck?
Who is your and watch my spelling on this. I know I'm really bad sometimes. See, I'll put the movie Howard the Duck
Yeah, there we go.
just to make sure people know where to say, oops, I misspelled movie. There we go. Howard the Duck. I don't remember. Oh, I'm going to bring these character names up here. Hold on a second. We have to do a poll because if we don't do a poll, the votes we won't get enough votes otherwise.
Oh, gotcha.
So I can't remember the character. I know Tim Robbins is in it. Jeffrey Jones is in it. But I don't remember the characters that they played.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I think we gotta put Howard for sure. He's the
Oh
main
yes,
character.
of course, yes. Of course, I do. How could I forget Howard? Okay, let me bring these up here. Give me 1 second. So, who would well, since we're talking about who would your favorite character be?
Uh, that is so tough. Um, so I thought Beverly was a lot of fun. She was a really good supporting actress. I think she really carried it. I was really impressed by her. But I also really liked Dr. Jennings. I love bad guys, so he did such an amazing job, and the props for it were really cool, like his slow progression, just into a bad guy was really well done, I thought. And he was so overpowered. I thought he was so cool.
So we'll put Beverly next. You want to put Beverly
Yeah,
next?
let's put Beverly.
Beverly, and then Jeffrey Jones was Dr. Jennings. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he was so good. I loved him.
Jeffrey Jones is always pretty good in movies. We just put Dr. Jennings. How's that?
Yeah.
And what was Tim Robbins' character? Hold on a second. Phil. I'll put Phil's full name because his last name looks kind of funny. So,
Was he the scientist that they first went to go to? Was he the younger
yeah,
scientist, I think?
exactly. Yeah, the glasses,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
I
so
didn't
funny.
like him at first, and then I liked him at the end.
So, and then we'll put your choice. So leave in
Yeah.
the comments. Yeah, your choice. Uh, comments. There you go.
Perfect.
All right. So, who's your favorite character in the movie Howard the Duck? Howard, Beverly, Dr. Jennings, Phil Blumbart, if I remember his name. And your choice. Leave a comment. Does it look good?
That looks great.
Cool. There we go. All righty. Let me bring that up here. That go. There we go. Okay, we'll come back to that in a little bit here. So, the main focus of our show today is Howard the Duck, and the reason why is because you said you liked bad movies, and I said, well, there's a movie called Howard the Duck, and you said, yeah, let's go ahead and watch that. So,
Yeah,
and you had never seen this movie before, is that correct?
that's right. Yeah, that was my first time.
So, what was your impression? Would you call this a bad movie as far as bad movies are concerned, or how would you grade this? Or don't give her final rating yet, but I'm just
I would definitely call this a bad movie, but it's one of the bad movies that was actually really good. So I just found myself constantly watching it like, "Oh, I hate this," but then I was like, "But it's so good," and I couldn't stop watching it.
so you I've never hated this movie, but I've never actually liked the movie either. So, um,
There were some parts where I was like, "No, no, turn it off. Come on, this cannot be happening." And then it would happen, and I'm like, "But why? Why?" And
and
it went in a completely different direction than I thought it was gonna go. I was like, "What is the plot? What's happening?" And it went from 0 to 180 so quickly. I was, like, just in complete awe of what was on the screen. I could not predict this movie if I wanted to.
this Stephanie on my glob says Dark Overlord.
Yeah, he was great.
I saw this movie. I don't think I saw it on TV. Let me go ahead and we can bring up some images here so we can. Whoops, there we go. So we can look what we're talking about here. I think I saw this movie, the commercial version of this movie. The movie it stars a lot of actually well known actors. Leah Thompson, which is she's really very well known. Tim Robbins, which is unbelievable. He's in this movie. He's done so many things since this. Jeffrey Jones, which we talked about, he played Dr. Jennings. Um,
Mhm.
and it's I think I saw this when it was on TV, so I saw the censored version. So I didn't see I don't think I saw the originally when I saw it, I didn't see the duck breasts, the duck boobies.
Oh my god. That's like 2 minutes into the movie, and I was like, "What?" We loo A friend of, mine and I were watching this together, and we looked up the rating, it was PG, and I was like, "But there's duck boobs right in the beginning," and then it, like, stays on it for a while. I was like, "This movie's so dirty. It's so dirty."
I
There were so many jokes that it was like, "This can't be." I would never let my kid watch that if I had a kid. I don't have a kid, but if I did.
this movie came out 86. I'm trying to remember. I think PG-13 had come out like a year or two before. So I'm surprised they didn't give it maybe the PG-13 rating, I guess. You think?
I think we were debating on whether or not the PG-13 rating had come out or not, but still, I mean, I think there were 10 sex jokes before the even like, the name of the movie was on the screen. Like, one of the very first ones is definitely a callback to Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and
Mhm.
because they have the poster, and I mean, the music that progresses through was really, really good, but also very reminiscent of, Raiders. So, they have this poster that says Breeders of the Lost I can't remember, it was some duck joke, I think, like, at the very beginning, and I was like, "I cannot believe this. Breeders, are you kidding?" I
Trying
think
to
even further back
there it
there
is.
we go.
There,
Lost Stork, that's what
Lost
it
Ark.
was.
Yes, yes. No, one thing I will mention, who this is a movie by George Lucas, and I might have mentioned this before. If I did, I'm not sure, but here's the IMDb page so you can see what I'm looking. I'll bring it up too. Here we go. So, where's George Lucas's name in here? I don't see it. I know he had some. Let me go to the Seymour page. See what we got here. IMDb is usually pretty correct. I'm not 100%. I don't see his name in there. That's weird. Hold on a second. Maybe he's on the producers at the bottom. Give me a second here. Yeah, there he goes. George Lucas. He was the executive producer of this. So, George Lucas, obviously from Star Wars and other movies, he I wish I could find the quotes, but I remember hearing him say one time that when this movie came out, he thought it was going to be similar to that of like, say, The Wizard of Oz, the 1939 Wizard of Oz, which failed miserably when it came out. But then 20 years later, it was really well liked because what happened was all the kids that saw it were now adults, and they wanted to share it with their kids. And so he thought this would become like the next Wizard of Oz. Like this would become, well, it was hated when people were kids, but when they get older, those kids will be adults and they'll share it with their kids and it'll be liked. And no, that never happened.
Oh, man. Yeah, wow, just wow. It felt like it felt like George Lucas's, like, duck fetish. It felt creepy, and maybe it's because I'm watching it now, but it felt so creepy.
The and the jokes, the lame jokes, of course, every single joke, like I don't remember off the top of my head. But there was always like his credit cards had what was his credit cards now? Let's see if I can was it right here? He would open up his credit cards and the credit cards were like had like duck references in them.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh
can't
my
remember.
gosh. There was this one part where Beverly opened up his wallet and took out a condom and was
Oh yeah.
like, "Oh, Howard," and put it back. I was like, "What? Can you imagine your kid like, what was that?" Oh my god.
No, I don't know if you know this. Howard the Duck is based on a comic book. I don't know if you know that.
I know that.
I didn't know that either when I first
Oh,
saw that.
man.
And the comic book, I think he was a very raunchy character, so maybe that's what they're going with. They're trying to keep and maintain that. And of course, there's Leah Thompson. What wasn't there a scene where it was almost implied that they were like in the, oh,
Yes.
there it is.
Yes.
Like,
It was bad.
yeah,
That was one of the parts where I was like, "Turn it off, turn it off." Oh,
the,
yeah, blooming ducks.
yeah, yeah, the more lame jokes that they have. Yeah, it was always some sort of duck reference. Yeah.
Marshington, DC.
Oh yeah, yeah. the Oh, here's Tim Robbins. Yeah, there he is. Tim Robbins. And this is so bizarre to see him in this kind of a movie because he would never do this kind of movie nowadays at all. I mean, the movies he's been in, like Shawshank Redemption, all these other things, he's a very sophisticated actor, and to see him doing this weird kind of nerdy kind of character is like
Yeah.
so different from what he did later on in his career. Um, the clothing they well, this is 1980s, so everything looks very much 1980s, so
Mm,
it has the 80s feel too. Well,
yeah.
sometimes when they make a movie that's after the 80s and they go back to it, it doesn't really feel like the 80s. They're like capturing the 80s in the wrong way, but that's kind of hard to do with this one. um as far as I mean, the whole idea that the whole world just accepts him as like he's there, like nobody questions it really. I mean, he's going to the unemployment office to get, like corporate. What was it? What did he trying to get a job or whatever? And there was just like,
Right.
yeah, like he said, okay, you're a duck, so yeah, we accept that as being okay. So
Oh, that's the part you were talking about where it's insinuated that they're dating.
yeah,
And then she claims him as his boyfriends later too.
yeah, yeah.
Dr. Jennings' best character.
Yeah, Jeffrey, there he is. There, Jeffrey
He's
Jones.
so great. He's amazing.
He was also the other movie I always think of him in is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you've ever seen that one, so
Yeah, yeah. He was,
and
the principal, is that right?
yes, yes.
Yep.
We got a couple of people. Was it Amna? Sorry,
Anna, uh,
this is my first time hearing his
Blunt?
voice. Oh, he's
Blunt.
okay. I guess you're talking about my voice. Okay, so thanks.
Oh.
Okay, and then we got Alexa saying good evening. Oh, good evening back to you. And oh, hi to everybody. We had another person that left several. Was it met him? Sorry, can't pronounce your name. He said hi several times there, so I just said hi back. So yeah, the end of the let's see, he gets enveloped by one of the dark overlords,
Right.
and throughout the movie he just basically, like you said, it's a very slow progression. Now you said the movie was good. What do you mean by good exactly? What do you describe what you mean?
So a friend of mine was watching this with me, and I couldn't put my finger on it, and he said it, and after he said it, I was like, "That's it." The music was really good. The production value was really good. The effects were really good for '86. And that's what it was, like, it was a bad movie produced so well. Like, you could tell that George Lucas, like, knows what he's doing, he just chose this vision.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't. I don't think. Let me go back to IMDb here. I don't think he did anything else. Uh, what's hold on? Yeah, he's only the executive producer. Well, I don't mean like only, but he was. What I mean by that is, it doesn't look like he had any writing credits in this one. No, that's not to say he didn't. So, because sometimes people will they won't take credit for writing something. So, but still, an executive producer is pretty high up there, obviously. So,
Yeah.
uh, the main producer of this is was that what's her name? Bring it up here. Oh, Gloria Katz. Okay, okay. I'm vaguely familiar with some of the things she's done. So, um, but the as far as his movies, uh, most of his movies. In my opinion, I don't know what your opinion is. Whenever I've seen his movies, if he has something to do with it, and he is it, before he became popular, his movies were actually a little bit better because he would have a lot of people trying to say, let's do this, let's do that. And he would listen to what they say. This is after he became real popular. So it's like, I bet a lot of people just came in and said, oh, we'll just do this. This has George Lucas's name on it. Surely it'll be a hit. And they were like, they didn't question him when they were doing that. And unfortunately, this is what your result is. You get a movie that's just like you said, it's like he's obviously he has the industrial light and magic, so he has the ability to create great effects and everything. But as far as the actual story, that's another thing. So I'm not sure how you feel. Have you seen the newer Star Wars let me see this, the prequel movies from the late 90s and early 2000s? Have you seen those?
Yes, I've seen all of the Star Wars movies.
How do Yeah, in my opinion, it feels like the prequels, the ones that he was mostly involved with, they had a quality of like they were just it seemed like he was not listening to enough people. He was just doing what he wanted to do. And this Howard the Duck seems to fall in that kind of category almost. Would you say that?
I could see the correlation. I don't know if they're directly related, but yeah, I can see what you're saying there. It could be we don't know what happened behind the scenes if he just kind of was playing like this is my show and I'm gonna do what I want, or if I mean maybe somebody just didn't have any good ideas.
Uh, the and the actual, I mean, you said, and now the plot. No, you said you didn't know what the plot was. There was a plot though. I mean, did you?
There definitely was. It just made me question it a lot. A lot.
The
I thought I knew what was going on, and then something else would be thrown at it, and I was like, "What really is going on?"
Now this scene right here, this is one of those scenes that I would assume that we would be saying, "What's going on?" Because it's like all of a sudden, for no reason, they're just going after Howard and they're trying to cut him up.
This is where I literally was like, "What is the plot of this movie?"
Yeah, and it's like,
Oh, man.
why are these people going after Howard all of a sudden? There's no reason for it. It's like, what are they doing exactly? So,
Yeah, but this is where Dr. Jennings just became the most cool person ever, and he shoots literal fireballs out of his eyes. It was so cool, and they just blow everything up for no reason, and I just like explosions and, uh, destroying things. That's kind of one of my things. Like, that's my key character trait is destroying things, so it was very pleasing to watch.
we did get a comment there, and sorry I didn't miss I missed it. I apologize. It's from Dory
The
Man.
Durin Man.
Dory Man said,
That's a friend of mine, actually.
oh, okay. The Star Wars explosion sound effects. It must have been something we were talking about there.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Star Wars esque stop motion. So oh yeah, there was a lot of stop motion in this.
Yeah.
That's kind of dated looking nowadays. You don't usually see that very often, but for the time it came out, it was kind of commonplace. So the oh yeah, where's the oh yeah, and then yeah, it's this whole scene is like it serves no real purpose for the whole movie except maybe to show that Dr. Jennings is just becoming more and more uh, com, uh what's it absorbed, I guess, by the by what was the Dark Overlord.
Yeah. This is okay, so this is where it's for me, the movie kinda just loses the plot. They just used a random, like, plot generator at this point, like, they got writer's block, and they were like, "Okay, let's roll the dice and see what happens." But this is also my favorite part of the movie, so I can't complain. Like, at first I was like, "Okay, so Space Duck got sent to Earth, alright, and he's just trying to fit in." And then I was like, okay, I don't really like where this is going because now they're like insinuating this kind of romance between a duck and a singer of a band. And I was like, I don't really like that. And then this happened, and I was like, this is what you needed to save the movie.
As far as like so this is your favorite scene. What would you say is your least favorite scene then?
Oh, definitely the insinuation scene of Howard and Beverly almost sleeping together. That was the worst. It was bad. It was so bad.
No, it is nice to see Leah Thompson. She's always pretty. She's I mean, you really can't complain about the way they acted in this. I mean, they all seem to act pretty well. Jeffrey
They
Jones,
did. Yeah, they did.
Tim Robbins, he's always good. Leah Thompson, she's always good, and almost everything I've seen anyway. It's just that should, I guess it goes to show like you can have something that's written badly, but still have good people. Still having people do a good job with their acting abilities. So yeah, let me see. Here's there was one scene up here. Where is it? Where they oh, trying to find where he does the lightning bolt. I can't remember
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Where is it?
The very Palpatine lightning bolt. I thought that when I was watching it too.
Yeah, here's his lightning bolt, and uh, well, I can't really find, but yeah, basically he starts. Here we go. I think is that it?
Oh, no, he's shooting the laser. I think it's a little earlier than oh, yeah, 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 that
Yeah,
part.
yeah. So yeah, he's getting the power. They actually show the overlords coming down through whatever the telescope
Yeah,
whatever.
they do, yeah.
And I forgot what was the ones that were coming down. Were they like were they going to trying to formulate this? How were they trying to absorb someone else? Were they going to go into someone else's body, or how I forgot what that part
I
was.
Yeah, so I think that's why he didn't kill Beverly and he took her because he needed a vessel, so he was gonna use Beverly as a vessel, and then I think that, Phil was going to be the second vessel since he was here. So, because I think two overlords were coming back down. So I think that's what Jennings' plan was.
And he does. Dr. Jennings survives at the end, right? Or does he?
Yeah. It, does he survive at the very end?
I
I
don't
think
remember
so.
now.
I think so.
I don't. I can't remember for some reason. I want to say yes, but then I'm not. I'm probably wrong on that. So, but the because how does it when he actually turns into the thing? So maybe I don't know. I don't remember. So
So it leaves his body at some point. I remember that. Yeah, so here he is. It leaves his body. But then
okay,
there's this whole massive explosion at the end where none of them really should have survived, where the whole thing comes crashing down, and I don't think they show him again.
okay. Maybe that's why I was getting confused there. Okay, I got it. All right. The now as far as the uh, as far as any kind of I mean the characters they do have I mean do you think the characters are written well? How do you feel about the characters themselves? Obviously we talked about the acting. How do you feel about the characters?
Uh, they're just so unnatural for me because this whole setting is just so unbelievable, but I kind of I really grew to like all of them. Like I really grew to like Beverly. At first I was like, "Oh, come on." But then she like actually throws punches and fights for herself and like I mean, she becomes the damsel and gets kidnapped and held hostage. I mean, whatever generic movie trope you're going to throw. But I thought she was a pretty strong-willed and a very good character. She stands up for herself and she stands up for Howard a lot, which I thought was really cool. And then I thought Phil, I immediately when I saw him, I was like, best character, most realistic. And then he started like wanting to he started talking to Howard like he was really stupid, and I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I don't like him anymore." And then he grew on me again when he started really helping Howard out and helping him escape, and that 15-minute long motorbike airplane scene. I was like, "Oh my god, they've been writing on this for so long."
Yeah, I forgot how long that actually
It
was.
was a long time, but I really liked him at the end. He really grew on me.
As far as no, as far as like movie recommendations, would you recommend this to anybody? As far as it well, there's a couple ways you could recommend it. Obviously, would you recommend it as a movie to watch in general, or would you recommend it to someone who just likes bad movies?
I would recommend it to someone who likes bad movies. I
Okay,
don't think that this is something that you have to see, but I think that if you wanna lose 2 hours of your life in a somewhat pleasurable way, if you can laugh at yourself, you will like this movie.
all right. Well, one of the trivia things I want to bring up real quick. I'm looking at this on IMDb. And I always say IMDb is could be updated by anybody, so you got to be careful what you're reading
Mhm.
here. Of course, I'll go ahead and bring it up so you know. Look at this here. Um, it's this one right here. It says George Lucas spent $2 million on Howard's duck suit, and 8 different actors worked the costume. That's according to they're saying that's according to the 2009 DVD release. A child actor was also intended to be the main Howard, but didn't work out. Okay, that's interesting. I noticed that in the credits here. Um, when I looked at it, it was like there were several people listed as Howard the Duck there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I didn't realize that. The voice of Howard the Duck, I thought there's I don't it's not that's not the person I know. I don't know who this person is. I'm not. He's someone that's been in a lot of things, obviously here, but um, when I saw the movie, I thought it was maybe Richard Dreyfuss. That's who I thought it was.
Mm.
That's what came to mind was, but it obviously was not. He had a kind of Richard Dreyfuss kind of quality to his voice when he was doing the character. So, and I thought he did a pretty decent job. The it kind the Howard the Duck thing is kind of like you ever seen the TV show Alf?
Yes, yeah.
There was in that one they had one person doing the character or the voice that is, and then the other person just walking around in the suit. If they did that because they did later on they kind of like just did away with the person walking around in the suit. They just had a puppet later on, all the time. So, but I didn't realize that Tim Ross can't be right. Oh, I want to see who this is. Oh no, it's someone else. It's another Tim Ross. I know there's an actor called Tim Ross in some sort of science fiction show. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I thought that was the same person. Um, yeah, I can't. I'm just curious as to uh, why would you need that many people? What is the purpose of having that many people to play that one part? You know, you think you just need one person. Why would you need 8 different people? I think it's 8 to do that kind of a job. It seems like it should be you just hire one person, you're good to go. Why would you? There doesn't seem to be any reason. It seems a little overkill on that. I mean, and the other thing is maybe I mean Lucas is obviously he's got a lot of money. Maybe he's thought maybe I won't take a chance. I'll just get as many people as I can. If one of them doesn't work out, I know that just doesn't make for some reason it just doesn't make any sense there for having that many
Well,
people.
I think Howard wore a lot of hats. He was master of quack foo. He
Quack.
was a seductor. He was a business entrepreneurial. He was the manager of the band. He played music on his own. Maybe he just needed a lot of talents and he couldn't find that in just one actor.
Okay, that's I'll go with that one. That sounds good. The now as far as the end of the movie, he doesn't obviously well, it doesn't really matter if we give any spoilers away, I guess. Because I don't think anyone really cares. But the he does not get back to his home planet. He stays on Earth. And I think they were trying to possibly lead up to maybe a sequel of some kind, which obviously never happened. If a sequel were to come out, would you watch the sequel?
Yes. Yeah, I would.
I don't know who owns the rights to this movie now. I don't know if it's Disney because they bought out Lucasfilm, or if it would be. if this would be owned, if George Lucas still owns it. Probably not. I assume Lucasfilm probably owns it. I have not heard anybody make any kind of indicate any kind of indication that they're going to remake this or make a sequel of this. um, from what I understand, the comic book, and I've never read it, seemed to be a little bit more like an average comic book. It was not bad.
Oh,
In the average in the sense that it wasn't like disliked, it wasn't hated. I just think the when they took the concept and made it into a movie, I don't think they didn't do a very good job. Obviously, let me see if I can bring up. I've seen images of this before. I'll bring it up over here. Where is that? Howard the Duck comic book. Let's see what we got here. You can see the images. Here you go. You can see the. Uh,
oh,
let's see, bring some of this up right
oh,
here.
they
So,
really did get his likeness, though. Wow.
mhm. And he was a very raunchy cigar smoking, everything. So it was not made for kids for sure, from what I read. So the whole raunchiness at the beginning, with the jokes and everything, was probably in line, but it just wasn't implemented very well. Is
Got it.
the best
Yeah.
way. Here we go. There you go. Is
Yep.
that Here's a Howard the Duck. Like I said, I think the people who like the comic book still like the comic book. I don't think they necessarily like the movie, but a lot of people like you and I didn't know it was a comic book
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
until recently. And it's basically when people hear Howard the Duck, they go, "Oh, that crappy movie," and the people are like trying to defend the comic book, say, "Oh, no, 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 I like the comic book, not the movie. No, no, I don't like the movie either." Whatever they're saying.
Yeah. I feel like the movie itself is such a better, like, platform to get more people to hear about it, more people to see it and watch it, and it's critiqued way harder, and comic books are kind of more of a niche. So the people who are interested in comic books and who would pick up Howard the Duck are going to be a little bit more accepting of what they're getting into than going into a movie theater and spending money to sit there and watch 2 hours of a film that they probably had no idea what it was going to be about.
Right, right. Let's look up the ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and see what we got here. I'm kind of curious what it has here. Of course, you go to Rotten Tomatoes, right? Are you
Yeah, I've been, yeah, a couple times.
okay? So wasn't sure if you're familiar with this. Here we go. Oh, there it is right there. Howard the Duck. Oh, what happened? Oh, there it is. Oh my goodness! Look at the ratings on the 14%.
Oh, I've watched worse.
Let's see. Oh, hold on a second. I'll go back here. 40 and 38% for the audience. Now there are people that do defend the movie, and that's fine. If you like a movie, I wouldn't condemn you for liking a movie. Like I said, I don't hate the movie, but I don't like the movie either. So it's just I think it was one of those movies that was like before the internet. I was watching it. There was nothing else on. I just had it on the background while I'm doing something, and I just watched it all the way through, and that's how I got to know it. So you said you saw movies that are worse than 14%? Like what?
Well, I watched, I think I talked about it a little bit before, um, Theodore Rex. That one was really, really terrible.
Yeah, with Whoopi
Um,
Goldberg?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so bad. Uh, oh man, what is the other one we watched with a T-Rex in it? Oh god, I can't remember. That one was really bad too. It was where her boyfriend turned into a dinosaur and she still like wanted to date him. Oh my god, what was that called?
Yeah, I've just brought up Theodore Rex. If you can remember that, let me know and I'll bring it up. But yeah, 0%.
Oh man,
But
it was bad. I mean, I'm telling you, it was so bad.
I will say this: it's only 5 reviews though. So when did that come out? 1980. Oh, wait a minute. Is that right? No, wait a minute. That's not that new. It says 2018. I don't think it's that new, is it? What year? Let me see. Oh, 19. There it is. 1996. Okay, there we go. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. And then 18% for the audience. Oh, I was trying to bring up the rating, not that. There we go.
Ah, it was called Tammy and the T-Rex.
Hammy and the T-Rex. Let's take a look at that one. T. There it is.
Tanmy and the T-Rex. Oh yeah, that one was bad too.
Oh, that one didn't get too bad though.
Oh, man. I thought it was way worse than that.
Now, of course, you got to remember we only got 6 reviews on here, so
Yeah,
so
that's
that
true.
if it, I would I don't know. Some of these people actually, I guess that means it's pretty good, right? Or no, wait a minute. Which is the good one? The tomatoes. So these are the good reviews, or average reviews, I should say. Um, Interesting. Over here, and 40%, 32% on the audience ratings. So, what was this movie about? Tammy and a teenage. What was that about?
This guy gets turned into a T-Rex. I can't remember how. It
Right.
wasn't relevant. And then his his girlfriend found out he was a T-Rex, and he was like trying to avoid her cuz he didn't want her to know, and he was trying to change back, and he just ends up, I don't even remember. Oh my god. He just he ends up trying to escape from these 2 scientists who turned him into a T-Rex. They took his brain out of his body and put it in a T-Rex's body, and then they were trying to, like, control him, I think, and so he was trying to escape, and his girlfriend was helping him escape and was still in love with him and, like, would kiss him as a T-Rex, and I was like, "What is this movie? What is happening?"
We got another comment from your friend there. The one I can't pronounce the
Oh,
name.
we watched this movie called Velocipaster.
Oh,
Apparently, I watch a lot of, dinosaur-related movies, but that movie was fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was so good.
it was a. So you're saying good as in actually good, or good because it's bad?
Good because it's bad.
Okay, I'm just making sure we're on
But
the
it
right.
was bad in the best way. I loved it.
Here we go. Veloci.
I would recommend this to anyone. So Velocipaster, it's a
Oh, oh,
Velocisaurus who's also a pastor.
I
I
misspelled.
can't make this up.
Hold on a second. I typed the wrong one in here. Velocipass. The Velocipaster 2018. Is
That's
that?
it. Yep. So this one I believe was intentionally made as like a parody.
Oh,
And they did a really good job. I really enjoyed it.
so no, I'm looking at the reviews here. 57% for the professional reviewers. We got 70%, which is really. It sounds like it's good. I mean, like people actually liked it. You
I
suppose?
I highly recommend it. I think you need to watch it. It's really good. Just
So
go into it knowing it's gonna be a parody, but it was really funny. Oh, here, my friend says again, it was a parody of Miami Connection. If you've heard of that movie before, we watched that afterward, and that's a really bad good movie also. But it was done so well. I thought it was great.
I'm not. So I'm not familiar with that one either. Sorry. Uh,
It's
the
okay.
Is it a movie that you should watch the other one first so you get the references, or does it matter?
No, it wouldn't matter. It's standalone. You would be able to watch it and appreciate it. But
Oh,
if you'd seen Miami Connection first, you would be like, "Oh, they're making fun of this scene," or, "Oh, that's just like that scene." But standalone, it still works.
no, talking about a movie, there's another one that comes to mind when you say that. It's called Dracula, Death and Loving It. With it's a comedy. It's a parody. I think it's a Mel Brooks movie.
Oh, I love Mel Brooks. I
Yeah.
haven't heard of this before though.
My dad and I went to see this when it was in the theater. Um, and you can see the score at 11%. My dad and I were bored. We were bored stiffless when we watched this movie. We weren't laughing at all. We always love Mel Brooks
Oh,
movies.
man.
And Leslie Nielsen, he plays Dracula. And I've heard several people recently say that the reason you have to like it is because it makes references directly to movies of the past. If you don't know those movies, and you're talking about like making references to
Oh.
Miami Connection, if you haven't seen those movies, in this case, you wouldn't understand what the jokes were. And I think that's what happened to my dad and me. We're like, why is this movie even on? We wanted to walk out of the theater. It was just so boring. So, and I like I said, I've seen lots of people recently actually say it's a great movie, and I'm like, really? I'm like, we did you see the same movie? But then they gave an explanation as to why,
Yeah.
and they say, okay, well, maybe I could understand it. Maybe if you had seen certain things you understand what the parody is or what the reference is, then you would probably get it a little bit more. But honestly, I would not recommend this movie. Whoops. Yeah.
Have you
And
ever walked out of a theater before?
yeah, I watched
Yeah?
yeah, it was a Woody Allen movie.
Oh.
New York Stories, I think was the name of the movie.
Not a big fan of his stuff.
Yeah, his stuff can get kind of boring. Yeah. The I was we used to, when I was younger, my friend and I, my best friend, his name is Trevor. We used to go to the Dollar Theater. I don't know if those are still around anymore. It'd be like the theater where the movies were about to expire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've been to a dollar theater.
Okay, yeah, and so you get to see a movie. It's still kind of new, but it's not brand new, and so it's getting ready to be taken off, taken out of the theaters. So you get to see it at, for a cheaper rate. I think that's where we saw it. What happened is we walked in. There was a two theater movie theater. It had two theaters, I mean, and we walked in. And it was like we're watching this movie, and we looked at each other and said, "We this is just awful." So we both walked out, and we walked across the hall to the other movie and just finished watching whatever that one was instead.
Oh, so did you snuck into another movie?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't think the people cared at the theater. I don't they could care less there. It was
They got your dollar.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's the only movie I can remember that I ever walked out of. Other ones I wish I'd walked out of, probably this one, Dracula. Have you ever walked out of a movie?
Yeah. Yeah. I walked out of a couple.
Do you have any
I, when I was younger, I walked out of, v Corpse Bride, which is a Tim Burton movie, but we had intentionally gone to go see Corpse Bride, but it was so we could sneak into the movie theater and see an R-rated movie, and that movie was worse, so we went back to Corpse Bride.
the so you didn't just leave altogether? It seems to make more sense.
Yeah, we were like, "Oh, we'll sneak in and go see." I can't remember if it was like a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre or if it was like a Jigsaw movie, like a Saw movie. I can't remember. It was a horror movie, but it was we snuck into it and we were completely lost. We didn't know what was going on. It wasn't any good. So then we were like, "Do you want to just go back?" So we just went back to our seats and finished the Corpse Bride movie.
Did you regret going back at all?
No,
Oh.
no.
While you're talking, I brought up another movie here. It's called Sleeper from 1973. We're talking about Woody Allen movies. When I was a very, very young kid, I saw this movie. I didn't see the rest of it, but I remember this scene. And what happens is the basic plot of the movie is Woody Allen's character goes in for an operation. He goes into like they put him in this hibernation thing where he comes back like 200 years into the future. So they revive him. He's in the future, and the future is highly repressive and all this. And all I remembered was there was this Volkswagen that he finds in this cave. And I thought it was so cool. He thought, oh, he found a Volkswagen. He started it up and they were driving around in it. It's in the future. And they're instead of driving the weird futuristic cars like this one that they were driving in the movie, he was driving an old Volkswagen. I thought that was really cool. So later on was in my later teenage years, I was an adult. I watched the movie again. I was like, this movie is not that good. I still like the scene with the Volkswagen, but aside from that, it's like I didn't care for the rest of it. So here's they're in a cave. You can see it's hard to see, but it's kind of dark there.
Yeah, oh man.
And as a kid, I was like, "Oh, that's so cool!" But of course, realistically, the car if somehow it just starts right up. It's been sitting there for 200 years, and so it just starts right up. Yeah, like that's gonna happen. But but anyway, for me, I thought that was just so cool. Yeah, that's a movie. If that was nowadays, if I were in a theater, I'd probably walk out of that one too. I'd see the Volkswagen scene, and I'd just walk out after that. So. So, what would you? Let's get it back to our movie here. Let me bring up bring up the actual screen. There we go. That's a good scene to look at. So final grade for this movie. I guess you could give it two grades. One grade for like how you think the movie actually is, and one grade for people who would like to see bad movies, I guess.
Okay. On a let's do a 5 scale. I would give this a 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was incredibly captivating. The music was really good. The production was really good. I thought that it was interesting. I could never guess the plot. and it really did keep me captivated the whole movie. There were definitely some scenes that I was like, I want to turn it off. I want to turn it off. And then they would just skip right past it and it was over. And I was like, okay, I don't have to do it again. But at least one time, 3.5 out of 5.
So, and that's 3.5 as in like, because I was, there's gonna be 2 scales. One was for people who like the movie or people who like bad movies. Would that be for the one that for people who like movies in general?
I think this one's for if you like bad movies, this is a 3.5 out of
Okay,
5.
I see where you're going. Okay, gotcha. So, and so, yeah, that early on, you said you would recommend this to people who like bad movies, and you definitely classify this as a bad movie, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I would.
I agree. I'll go with your score as well. I'll go with that one. That's, and like I said, I've watched it and then I didn't turn it off. I didn't feel repulsed by watching anything on it. I just let it sit all the way through. And I don't, I don't really, like I said, I don't hate the movie, but I don't really. I'm repeating myself, of course. I don't like it. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, is what I would say, except for what we're doing for this, of course. So. And yeah, I for those who like bad movies, and of course, it's really well known right now. This is notoriously well known as one of the worst movies out there. So primarily because I mean, you have a person like George Lucas who's so well known in the movie industry making this and thinking it's going to be the hottest thing in 10 years, 20 years down the line, and of course, it never did. And it's one of those movies that people like to go back to and say, ah, see, there's a bad movie right there that he made.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the Star Wars movies, I was talking about that. The comparison to like say the prequels. What I meant was I'm not saying the prequels were bad. I'm just saying that it seemed like he had too much control over of those, and he needed more input from more suggestions. It was what I was saying, and he in this one it seems like maybe that was the same thing. Maybe he was a little bit too much control in this. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I don't know all the background story for this, so. All right. Well, would you like to check our question from the beginning of the show? I'm going to bring
Yeah,
this
let's take a look.
up. Okay. Well, looks pretty good. We got 77 votes so far. Overwhelmingly 74% saying Howard. That's interesting. Wow. So wait a minute. 74% of 77. That's a lot of votes there. The next one down is we got 8% with your choice. Leave a comment. Oh no, I'm sorry, 13% with Beverly. Excuse me. Actually, I'd be surprised. Leah Thompson is kind of cute in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of guys were
Really
like her
cute.
in this one. So, that next one down will be 8% with Leave Your Choice, 4% with Dr. Jennings. That's interesting.
Hmm.
I thought he'd get a higher amount actually.
I thought he was so good.
And then Phil Blumbert with 1%. Okay, well he wasn't really.
Predictable.
Yeah, he wasn't really like a standout. I mean, he wasn't like the main part of the movie, but yeah. I always think of Tim Robbins, like Tim Robbins always gets like a high rating. I'm surprised. That's what threw me off there for a second. So Sandeep Mohan R, regular contributor, says, I didn't watch it, so I don't care. Sorry, bro. Okay. So yeah, you're not really missing very much there. So if you want to watch it though, you can watch it if you like the bad movies. How do you feel about the results?
I'm surprised that Howard was everyone's favorite. I have an ongoing thing that's just a known fact about me. I hate animal companions. I hate them so much. Disney does it a lot. A lot of cartoons do it. A lot of video games do it. I hate animal companions. Howard was the biggest. This was a movie about the animal companion. Only he was the main character, and I just, ugh.
So does that
So
make it
I,
worse in that case?
yeah, yes.
So I'm trying to think of it. If this had been an animated movie, and maybe they could have done it a little bit better in some ways, do you think it still would have been? We still would have hated it. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, okay. What
Uh,
other movies? Is it mainly Disney movies that do that? And you're
a
talking about,
lot of a lot of Disney movies do that.
and when you say animal companion, it's more like in the sense where the character can talk, or does it have to be, or it could be a companion where they don't talk? Like maybe
It
it's.
it doesn't matter to
Oh,
me.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like, it doesn't matter if it can talk or not, I just don't like it. The only good companions are robots.
Oh. Well, how about buddy movies then? Where do you have like two buddies coming along and they're doing a movie together? How would you feel about those?
That's
Like,
fine. Like, if you have, like, a sidekick, like, that's different. or like two like a shared main role, that's fine. But something about animal companions just I hate it. I hate it so much.
Is it so were you so with this whole movie, were you basically just saying how much you hated it all the way through because but you liked it too at the same time, isn't that kind of interesting or
Yeah, it was interesting because I knew what I was getting into, so, like, if you go in the right mindset, you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna watch a movie about a duck." I knew what I was getting into, but if somebody was like, "Oh, I've got this really awesome movie, you gotta watch it about it's about this guy named Howard, and he goes from outer space, and then he fights this dark overlord," I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, okay, let's do this." And if they turn it on, I would be like, "Turn it off. What are you doing? Turn it off."
What other movies come to mind? I'm trying to think of some.
With
Um,
animal sidekicks?
yeah, yeah. Can you think of
Yeah, I think I do just think mostly of Disney. I, like, immediately think of Pocahontas with, like, her raccoon and then her hummingbird, and I think of, like, Tangled with the horse. Disney loves to animate their horses and personify them, and I hate
I have not
it.
seen I have not seen that movie, but I when you said, I'm thinking of Cinderella, which I saw when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, all the mice.
Yeah, exactly, that's what
Yep.
I was thinking. How do you feel about that? Is that the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me, but then again, I haven't seen the movie since I was a kid, so I can't really comment. I barely remember. I just remember seeing little mice walking around talking, and I had the record album. My parents got me the record album for the movie, so I'd play it a lot when I was a kid. But that's and I don't remember. All I remember is hearing the voices on the record talking. It was like they lifted actual audio from the movie and put it on a
Oh,
record.
wow, cool.
This was before before VCRs were very popular, so this is way back in the day. So, that was a common thing. But yeah, I no, that doesn't bother me. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah, I can't stand it. I
I've not
can't
seen
stand it.
Pocahontas. How about I've not seen The Lion King, but that's mostly all animals. How do you feel about that? Have you seen that one?
So, okay, Lion King was so close to getting it right. So, it doesn't the main characters don't bother me because ever I'm watching a movie about lions, I can wrap my head around that. But, like, Timon and Pumbaa and, Yazoo, Zazu, right? Zazu was the toucan?
Sorry, I never
Oh my god! I mean, so, like, Timon and Pumbaa's, like, song was good. It's probably the best song out there, the Hakuna Matata, but they're just there for their, like, offhanded jokes. They're there for flavor, right? They don't actually provide, like, a lot of context to the story, and they're just there for their, like, 5 seconds and their little one-liners, and that's bothers me.
Now, what about there's another movie I'm curious about, from the 1970s, Charlotte's Web. You ever seen that one? The
I
talking dog?
have, yeah. Um, that one, no. Maybe I was it's been a really long time, and maybe it's just because I was a kid, but I think it's just because it's centered around all of the animals as a whole,
Okay.
maybe? Like, I don't really feel like they all interconnected their stories, I think. Maybe I'm talking out of my butt. But it's been a hot minute since I've seen that, so can't necessarily comment because I was a kid when I last saw it, and I think I was sick in the doctor's office when I watched it.
Oh. Now, some of these movies I brought up, like Lion King, I've never seen Lion King, so those references you're making, I don't know. I
Oh,
so those people that hopefully I assume the people watching this will most likely know that. I've never this came out, I think, in the 90s, right? Is that the cartoon version?
that sounds about right.
Yes, I wasn't really into watching Disney movies in the 90s, so that's why. So, just not my thing, that's all.
I'm
Uh,
a big Disney fan. I've seen a lot of Disney movies. I'm not a huge fan of the newer Disney stuff. I like more of the stuff that came out when I was a kid and a little before that. Um, I don't know, this new the there's been really good movies that have come out, but they just haven't struck my fancy of like, "Oh, I need to see that." I remember being a kid when Hunchback of Notre Dame came out, and I begged my dad to take me to the theater so we could watch it, and I was just a kid, and I remember there was a part in Hunchback where Quasimodo's getting, like the townspeople are being really mean to him, and I remember turning to my dad and just being like, "Daddy, why are they being so mean to Quasi?" And my dad had to, in the theater, like, explain to me that sometimes life isn't fair. It was, like, a really big life lesson.
I've never seen that movie either, so but I've
Oh,
seen
sorry.
I've seen, I might have seen, like, I might have seen, like, the live action version when I was a kid, like, one of the live action versions of that movie, so, but I don't re but, I don't even that I wouldn't even be able to remember because it was too long ago, so, but that's fine. I do like your reaction to it. I like how you described it and everything, so that's pretty cool. While you were talking, though, I brought up this movie called Song of the South. Have you ever heard of this one?
I have actually heard of this one. I haven't ever seen it, but I used to play, like, a Disney trivia game with my parents, which was basically when my parents just wanted to feel bad about their knowledge and lose a game to me. So there were some questions about this game in that trivia game, or this
Okay.
movie in the trivia game.
Yeah, the apparently Disney don't no longer lets anyone watch it. I mean, if you have an old copy, you can still watch it, obviously, but,
Yeah, it was,
um,
from what I recall, was pretty racist.
the interesting thing, though, there's a woman on YouTube, I don't know which video it is. She's actually gone out to defend the movie because this basic story of it is actually carried down from Black people from Africa. So, like, the story is an ancient story that carried down from Africa and came over to North America when people were being brought over as slaves, and the story grew from that. And I thought that was kind of interesting that they're banning something that because they say it's racist, which obviously there are some, racist things in it, but
Mhm.
the basic storyline itself is actually carried down from Black history, which is kind of interesting. They're banning something that has some sort of historical Black reference to it, and they're not taking that into consideration when they do that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I have seen the movie, and I had also had the record album too when I was a kid.
Mm.
It's like so yeah, where the same thing where they lifted the audio from the movie and you could play that over and over again. So, but yeah, I barely remember the movie, but I do. Yeah, it was definitely a lot of basically a lot of happy Black people who were slaves, and like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not how it was.
I
So,
do remember Zippity Doo-Dah. I used to sing that as a kid.
oh, okay.
I remember, like, that part in particular. I think I understand where you're coming from, where it has this history. I think it just wasn't represented well, and I
Mhm.
think it wasn't done in the right, like, lighting for
R
it. I think it was just done in the wrong way. So
Right.
I understand kind of both sides of it, is like they tried to take this great story and they tried to make it something good and something viewable to a lot of people, but they did it in the wrong, like, connotation. So it just came off wrong.
Yeah, I've not seen the movie since I was a kid, so I couldn't comment, either way. All I know is, yeah, I do remember there were some things that would be definitely considered to be not good. That's
Yeah.
but, like, it's so long ago, I couldn't really tell you. So, all right, so basically, let's get back to our, well, I'll hit this one more time. I'm sure there's not gonna be anything really there. Okay, we're up to 95 votes, and
Oh,
that's
man.
so, all right. So basically, Howard the Duck, bad movie, but you'd recommend it for people who like bad movies. So
Yes, if you love to hate, watch this movie.
love to hate. Interesting way of putting it. So okay, all right, Alyssa. Thanks for being on. And did you have anything else you wanted to add before we wrap everything up?
No, it was so fun. I loved doing this movie, like, chat, and, I was glad that everybody got to kind of participate a little bit too. That's great. I love
Yep,
talking with all of the viewers and with you, and so I really enjoy it.
yep. I enjoy having you on too. So this was great. Cool. All righty. Well, we'll be back next week, hopefully, and we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.